A young woman with no power stood before a king and changed the fate of a nation. Her name was Esther, an orphan, raised by her cousin Mordecai in exile. She lived quietly, far from her people's homeland, in a kingdom where power belonged to men. And silence was safety, but destiny rarely waits for comfort. When the Persian king, Ahasuerus, removed his queen in anger, the search for a new one began, a search that reached the house of Mordecai. Esther was taken, not by choice, but by circumstance, into the palace. She had no title, no influence, only grace and a kind spirit. But favor found her. In a room full of women chasing crowns, she wasn't trying to be seen. She simply carried peace. And in that quiet strength, the king noticed her. He crowned her queen. But this wasn't a fairy tale. It was a setup for something divine. Not long after, a man named Haman, a high official, rose in power. His pride demanded worship, but Mordecai refused to bow. Insulted and enraged, Haman decided it wasn't enough to punish one man. He wanted to destroy an entire people. Esther's people. With one signature, he sealed their death warrant. News spread like wildfire. Mordecai tore his clothes and wept at the city gate. And through messengers, he reached Esther with a plea: "You must speak to the king." But approaching the king without invitation meant death. Even as queen, Esther was not above the law. She hadn't been summoned in 30 days. To enter uninvited was suicide. Her first response was fear. Who wouldn't be afraid? She was a young woman caught between a crown and a cause, between comfort and calling. But Mordecai's words cut through the fear. Do not think that because you are in the palace you will escape. Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. That one sentence shifted everything. Esther called for a fast. No food, no drink, for 3 days, her and her people. And when the third day came, she dressed in royal robes, took a deep breath, and walked toward the throne room. Every step echoed with risk. Every glance from the guards could have been her last. But when the king saw her, something divine happened. He extended his golden scepter, a symbol of life, mercy, favor. Esther lived. And in that moment, she didn't just survive, she stepped fully into purpose. With wisdom and patience, she revealed Haman's plot. She exposed the evil meant to destroy her people. And before the same king who had once chosen her beauty, she spoke with courage that came from God. By the end, Haman's schemes collapsed under their own weight. The people were saved. And the orphan girl became the instrument of deliverance. Esther didn't fight with swords. She didn't lead armies. Her courage was quieter, but no less powerful. She used her voice when silence would have been safer. She stood when fear told her to sit. Her story reminds us that courage isn't the absence of fear, it is obedience in the middle of it. Purpose doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it whispers through trembling voices that say, "If I perish, I perish." You never know what your such a time as this might look like. But when it comes, speak. Even if your voice shakes. Because sometimes, one voice can shift the course of history. Have you ever felt like your voice is too small to make a difference? Like you're just one person in a vast, overwhelming world? If so, the story of Esther is for you. It's a powerful reminder that God can use one ordinary person to do extraordinary things. Imagine a young Jewish woman, an orphan, living in a foreign land. Suddenly, through a strange turn of events, she becomes queen of the mighty Persian Empire. This is Esther. But her fairy tale-like story takes a dark turn when a powerful enemy, Haman, plots to annihilate her entire people. The decree is signed, the date is set, and a nationwide genocide seems inevitable. Esther is safe within the palace walls, but her cousin Mordecai sends her a chilling message: do not think that, because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. He then asks a question that echoes through the centuries: and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? This was Esther's moment of truth. To approach the king without being summoned was to risk immediate death. Fear must have gripped her heart. The fear of failure, the fear of death, the fear of the unknown. It's a fear we all know, isn't it? The fear that holds us back from speaking up, from taking a stand, from stepping into the very purpose God has for us. But this is where faith changes everything. Esther doesn't let fear have the final say. She asks her people to fast and pray with her for 3 days. She gathers her spiritual strength, not in her own abilities, but by grounding herself in her faith in God. She decides to trade her fear for courage, choosing to trust in a plan bigger than her own. This is the turning point. After 3 days of prayer, Esther puts on her royal robes, takes a deep breath, and steps out in faith. She approaches the king's inner court, fully aware that her life is on the line. This single act of courage, born from deep faith, sets in motion a chain of events that will change the destiny of her nation. Her story isn't just about a queen saving her people. It's about the power of one voice, empowered by God, to speak truth in the face of injustice. It's about divine timing and realizing that your unique position, your unique circumstances right here, right now might be the very platform God intends to use for His glory. Maybe you're not in a royal palace, but you have a sphere of influence. Your family, your workplace, your community. God has placed you there for such a time as this. What is the fear that's holding you back? What is the conversation you're avoiding? What act of courage is God calling you to today? Esther's story teaches us that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. It's trusting that even when we can't see God's hand, He is always working behind the scenes, weaving our stories into His grand, redemptive plan. God used Esther's voice to save a nation, and He wants to use yours, too. You have a purpose, a destiny, that is uniquely yours. So let Esther's courage inspire you. Step out in faith. Trust in God's timing. And use your voice. You never know how God might use it to change the world around you. Thanks for watching today. If this story encouraged you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories of faith. We'd love to have you as part of our community. God bless.